from fighting for the right to vote, to going to work in the factories during World War II, to the feminist revolution in the 60s and the 70s, the role of women has constantly evolved. It wasn't very long ago that the norm was for a woman to stay at home and take care of the kids. Over time, the two-income home became much more mainstream. Today, we will discuss the changing role of women with three very empowered women of today. Manju is an American Marshall Fellow since 2008 and President of the Board of Directors for Narika since 2009. For 16 years of professional career, she spent her first 4 in the tech industry and the next 12 at financial institutions. She's a VP alumna of Goldman Sachs. Dandavati, whose political and community activism took birth at a time when it was quite uncommon to see men and women of the Indo-American community organizing, participating and speaking out on issues of public importance. Annie currently serves on the board of directors for the Santa Clara Trial Lawyers Association, representing lawyers who do civil litigation. Shelly Kapoor Collins, born in India, Shalini came to the US with her family at the age of 3. Shalini is the founder of Ancient Corporation. She was on the board for the Finance Committee for the Kamala Harris for California Attorney General campaign. Shalini also serves as the Bay Area liaison for Indian-American Leadership Initiative, a national organization focused on promoting Indian-American participation in the political process. And I feel so honored to have all of them here with us today. Manju, tell us, the way we treat Indo-American women, is it different here in the US or is it the same that we are used to back at home in India?
Thanks, Ina, for having me here. The way I would look at this is essentially whether the woman is part of a family which is first generation Indian American family, or whether she's part of the second generation Indian American family. How long has she lived in this country? 3 to 5 years or 20 years? Whether she's economically independent, is she somewhat educated or highly educated, and what is her immigration status here? Is she on an H2 visa, has come here supporting her husband, or whether, she's a citizen in this country. I think all these factors will play out and sort of determine how this woman is going to be, willing to be treated, and also where she's going to draw her own boundaries as part of the family.
And the confidence of that women also. When they come new over here in this country, they're probably not sure of what they want to do, where they fit in, how they
Can you imagine?
So they're constantly struggling, right?
Right.
What about the emotional baggage do you think they bring for living this bicultural life?
Right. So we in our culture, family is so paramount, and everything that we do is family driven. Every decision we take is what's best for the family. So there is that, when you're in another culture, you start to learn that you can be yourself as an individual, that you can want something different from the family. They can diverge, but that doesn't mean that you have to be guilty about it. You can still retain your individuality and still do what's right for the family. So I think there is that aspect there.
And you have been a lawyer for a very long time. Can you throw some light on how the changing role of women have defined laws for us?
Well, the women's struggle goes back, obviously, over an entire century. It was, for example, only in 1920, which is quite unthinkable, that women even got the right to vote in this country. And, one always thinks of the United States as being very progressive when it comes to women's rights and equality and those kinds of issues. But our reality has actually been quite different. Having said that, I think on a positive note, we have made progressive, very consistent kind of progress, and that is heartening. So, for example, if you take an issue like our representation in US government, I remember when I used to speak to public forums about maybe 10 odd years ago,
you were the only one.
Right, and our representation in the US Senate, the highest level of office in this country, started out at 2%, 2 out of 100 senators, and then it was 9, and today it's 17.
Now, you tell me you are the president of Narika, and you must be seeing a lot of cases that must be heartening for you. Can you share some of your thoughts on the type of cases that come to you?
As I mentioned before, I think in the case of Narika, even in Bay Area, which is a representative of the overall United States, we see cases where a woman might be a 6-figure salary earning person, or she could be a blue white-collared worker, or she could be a stay-at-home mom. So we see a wide range of cases, and obviously it's the woman's choice whether she wants to move out of that situation and would be the first to contact Narika and seek help, and that help can be extended in various different ways and to the extent that she requires.
It's very surprising sometimes to hear some of these stories, because you would think that this is the land of opportunity and freedom and women will be treated equally. But when I hear some of the stories, I'm like, how could this happen?
Because I think when you live in your own home, it's very easy to recreate what you think is right and what you consider to be social and based on social and religious, sort of beliefs that you have. And if you've been ingrained, you've been raised with those, values, then it becomes very easy both for your partner as well as for yourself.
You're just the giver. I mean,
Yes.
you should not expect anything. You're just the giver, and that's how we grew up.
That's, especially the older generation that first came to this country, they moved out of India and they tried very hard with both hands to hold on to our values, our culture, what they knew to be right. So when they came here, they held on to that, that perception of what India was. India's moved on, and so they try to recreate that, like you said, in the home. That's
But coming back to the legal aspect of this changing role of women, Obama has obviously passed that law of equal pay. We were all grateful to him for that. But how has that changed the way women fight in the court of law?
Well, if I could maybe just go back to the issue of equal pay, that was certainly one of the first pieces of legislation that President Obama passed. However, having said that, the reality is that even today, the average woman is still making 79 cents for every dollar that a man makes. So it hasn't sort of changed completely the way we'd want to see it be a real sort of equality. And then every so often you'll have some big case that comes into the news. For example, there's this 10-year-long case that's going on with Walmart right now, and then there's another huge case involving an automaker where this woman was a supervisor for 19 years. And at the end of that, she realized that she was getting 20% less than her male counterparts for the same job. So every time something like that comes out into the public eye, it kind of creates a consciousness, I think, where employers become a little bit more aware, of how they're jeopardizing their own reputation and how they're making themselves actually susceptible.
Now, all of you have been so successful. I'm going to start with Shelly. What do you think has been the pro and con for you working in this country?
The pro is definitely the opportunities that I've had. I just decided to start my company one day and I did it. Right, and I want this
what
to
has
be
been some of the challenges for you?
The challenges,
as a woman.
So if I can just speak honestly, my own mom said to me, honey, get married first, have your family, and then start your business, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't
do the norm first,
and then go and do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, I did take a step back, right? I did put the family first, like we're talking about. I did that, and then I came back to the business, which I'm so passionate about. But there is never a good time to do something like that. So that was the challenge. Balancing, and I do believe as women we are fantastic multitaskers. If anyone can do it, we can have it all.
Awesome. What about you, Manju?
As far as my personal experiences are concerned, having worked on Wall Street, there was always a very big challenge for me personally to balance my life. And being the first generation here, being there for my child versus being there for my career, I've had to make some tough choices along the way. And I would definitely hope that my daughter doesn't have to face some of them, in the coming decades.
Her journey as
yes,
well.
I definitely would not want that for her.
You paved the right path for her. What about you, Annie?
Well, I think, for me personally, working was something I wanted to do because it makes me feel fulfilled. Having said that, I think it's always a very personal choice. I look at women who are full-time homemakers and they're happy, and I say more power to them.
In this country, women have the ability and choice to create their own lives, own businesses, become what they've always dreamed, speak their minds, or balance a family and a career. If we put in the effort, we are able to accomplish all a man can accomplish, or maybe even more. We'll be gone only for a short while. We'll be right back with a special segment, so don't go away.